Welcome to Among the Lilies. This is a show for ladies who are tired of pretending and are ready to be real. I'm your host, Cameron Frad, and in today's episode, I'm going to be really real with you. And I am starting a diet. I feel really weird about saying that, and I'm wondering if maybe you need to go on a diet too. I don't know if you guys are allergic to the word diet, but I am. I am a child of the 80s and 90s, and my mom was always going on diets. And it was normally Weight Watchers, or it was this new diet, and it was all about losing weight. And I, as a kid, I just didn't like it. And I saw that my mom was miserable when she was on a diet, and I'm like, I'm never going on a diet. That sounds horrible. I'm just gonna eat well and exercise, and then I can eat whatever I want and it doesn't matter. Well, joke's on me, because I cannot eat whatever I want. I am really restricted already in what I can eat and what I can't eat. Not because I think I'm fat, or not because I'm going to gain weight, but because I explode. It's really ugly and gross. If I had a cup of whole milk right now, I couldn't even finish it. I'd be in the bathroom vomiting. If I have something that upsets, so often, more often than not, if we eat out at a restaurant, before the end of the meal, I can feel the pain setting in my stomach. And I just kind of start to curl up in a ball. And my husband will look at me and is like, we need to go, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I've been out to eat before on a double date with friends. And before we even got to the parking lot, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel good. And I was curled up in a ball, and I'm like, I'm going to be okay. And we made it. We didn't even make it out of the parking lot. And I had to be, feeding their bushes, the restaurant food. So, so I feel already restricted in what I can and can't eat. So I don't know, the idea of a diet, I'm just I don't want to do it. And I've done a while ago, I've done Whole30 multiple times. I mainly, for the most part, I eat paleo, but I do love chocolate, and I love coffee. And I don't know, I feel as Americans, I know there's many of y'all all over the world, so maybe this doesn't affect the rest of the world, but Americans in particular, I think we are very much oh, well, if I can take a pill to fix it, I'm just going to do that because that's easier. And I remember a friend of mine was lactose intolerant, and she's like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm just going to have ice cream. I'm like, doesn't it make you sick? She's like, no, I could take this pill and then I won't get as sick. And I'm like, that's horrible. Just don't eat the ice cream. Okay, well, obviously, I think I thought I had more self-control than I actually do, because now it's actually really hard. I remember I was doing a sugar detox thing, and Matt actually threw a bag of M&Ms at me and was like, okay, just eat the M&Ms. Just eat them. I used to, how bad is this? I used to make myself a big family-size bowl of popcorn, and I put a whole bag of M&Ms in it, and I would eat the whole thing by myself. Sometimes I'd share with my kids if they were selfishly wanting some, but I could eat the whole thing by myself. And I almost always had stomach aches afterwards. I should have known. I can't really do popcorn, and I can't really do M&Ms. So the two together, I really like the way it tastes, but I didn't like the way it made me feel. And I don't know. So right now I've been struggling with health stuff on and off. Those of you that follow me know this already, but if you're new to the channel, welcome. Let me tell you all these horrible health issues I have and why I can smell up any bathroom. No, sorry. TMI. But seriously, I have a lot of stomach issues, and right now I'm currently taking one medicine 4 times a day, another medicine 3 times a day, another medicine twice a day, and then I think I take 3 more prescriptions at night. That's just prescription pills. And one is to keep my blood pressure up. So I'm so thankful I had it. I would probably still be laying in bed, not awake yet. I'm still kind of not awake because I started my diet, to be honest with you, and I have not had a cup of coffee. And and I don't feel awake. But I'm trying. I'm going to record because I need to run to IKEA later on today. And I thought I'd rather record now with no coffee than waiting till later in the day when I feel more awake, but I'm exhausted from walking around IKEA and oh my goodness, if I see another Swedish word somewhere, I'm just gonna, or bright lights. It's not the Swedish words. I love you people from Sweden. It's just I have a love-hate relationship with IKEA. So that's it. Vegans pushing for dairy-free alternatives. Yes, this is true. Okay, so thank you, vegans. Caitlin just wrote, she's like, all the vegans pushing for dairy-free good stuff. It is so much easier to be dairy-free now. Yes, you're right. It absolutely is. I love nut pod creamer. It's so good. I had it in my pretend coffee this morning. So I had like dandelion tea and I frothed that lovely nut pod creamer, and it tastes and has the consistency of coffee. It doesn't really taste like it, but it's not tea. So I think people that are like, oh, just have tea. It's not the same. I want coffee in the morning. And this helps. It really does. But my current diet, thank you for liking my earrings. Aren't those cool? I bought them yesterday. I got them for $3. So not to brag, but it was some store in West Virginia that they were on clearance. And I was like, ooh, I like those. And I was planning on coming here and recording a podcast, but it took too long. So I'm recording today, but I decided to wear the earrings. Okay, back to diet. So I'm allergic to the word diet, and I'm okay when it's like, okay, go grain-free. Like, okay, or I've been gluten-free for years. Like, I've been gluten-free before it was cool to be gluten-free. I've been gluten-free for like 9 years. I actually now know that I probably have celiac, but I don't do well with gluten, so I never ever cheat on that because I know how horrible it makes me feel. I am totally addicted. Okay, my name is Cameron Frad, and I am addicted to chocolate and coffee and sugar. I love sugar. It has been less than 24 hours since I last ate chocolate or sugar. Technically, it was like dark chocolate, so it just had it had organic, unrefined coconut sugar in it, but I did eat it last night after I was trying to do the diet all day. But I was like, it's not real sugar. It's like organic, unrefined coconut sugar. That counts. That's okay, right? But I'm not supposed to have any sugar in my diet. So my new diet is a elimination diet, low histamine diet. So it's no grains, no sugar, no dairy, no eggs, no what else is there? No. And then even the vegetables. So no peanuts, no it's weird. Even some vegetables. I'm not allowed avocados. I'm not allowed olives. I'm not allowed tomatoes. I'm not allowed, there's a lot of things I'm not allowed. And I know that I should do this diet. It's through a doctor's office. It's through Cleveland Clinic. And I know that I should have started it right away when they said it to me. And I was like, I have vacations coming up. I can't do this. I'm going to start it after the vacations. And I keep putting it off. And I'm like, I just need to do it. There's definitely, I definitely have swelling and kind of pains in my joints and my face. You could probably see under my eyes. I definitely have bigger eyes and just more puffy of a face. And I think going on this will help, and it will lessen my swelling and my inflammation, and then hopefully get me off these meds that I don't want to be on. But I'm just allergic to diets, and I don't know why. I think it's because I think people that were born in the 2000s, they're fine with diets, and it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. I just do this lifestyle and they're fine. But for me, I don't know if it's because of when I was raised, but I lived during the low fat era. So it was low fat milk's great, whole milk's horrible. And I was even a friend of mine, we have these neighbors who get the sisters, there's some religious sisters that get a lot of food donated to them, and it's from people's gardens, and it's beautiful, and maybe even their own garden, but then also just things that are donated, breads and milks, and they had all these skim things of milks. And my neighbor asked me, and I'm like, oh no, I don't do skim milk. I'm like, I did when I was in high school, when I knew that whole milk bothered my stomach, but now I just do milk alternatives and it's not a big deal. And I was like, maybe if you find a high schooler. And my other neighbor came over and she's like, do you mean someone that was in high school, your generation or before? We need a grandma. Grandmas still drink low fat milk. They're the only ones. If you drink low fat milk, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just encouraging you to switch. Do oat or almond or coconut or whole milk. If you can get raw milk, honestly, that's the best. Yeah, I know that's not a cool thing to say. I'm just going to say it. Raw milk is way better than pasteurized milk. In Ireland, I could actually have dairy products, and I did great with them. And I think because they're not as heavily processed as they are here in the US. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk to you about my diet that I'm starting because it's very much on my brain. And I don't know. And just to encourage you, maybe you need to take a lifestyle switch and maybe doing some form of diet is called for. And for me, it's definitely in the beginning, it's really hard. So I know I'm going through like withdrawal of sugar for these next few days, and I'm like pining for it like nobody's business. I've said before, if I pine for Jesus half as much as I pined for chocolate, I'd be a saint. I would absolutely be a saint. I would be the most holy woman I know. But unfortunately, I don't. And I'm so sad by that. Like I need to pray about that. I need to replace my pining for chocolate for Jesus. That would be really great. I just found out adoration opened back up at our church. So I'm super excited and I need to go. I didn't realize it was open back up. I think because we've been going to mass at like all different places just because of travel. And then we also had the gift of having a priest celebrate mass in our house, which was so amazing and beautiful. But I'm excited. I need to get back to mass. I am going to talk to y'all about some questions for our Patreon members. So those of you that don't know, this is kind of like our normal format right now, but it's about to change. Next week, I'm going to have Jackie Francois Angel on. She's awesome and amazing, and I love her. Starting next week, I'm going to try to every other week do a YouTube like recording. So it's like me on half the screen and then someone else on the other half the screen, so I can get back to interviewing beautiful women, because I'm kind of getting sick of just hearing my own voice and seeing my own face. And I hired some social media people and they're doing a great job. So when you watch this video, y'all are doing awesome. Thank you so much. But a side note is I wasn't really keeping up with stuff. And then someone's like, hey, so someone took over your Instagram, huh? And I was like, yeah, how'd you know that? And they're like, because you're quoting yourself like a lot. I'm like, what? Really? And I opened it up. I'm like, oh my goodness. The last like 50 things are like quotes of me. And I'm like, oh, wow. I did not just all of a sudden become a narcissist, but that's what it looks like. And so I want to change that. So I'm like, once I interview other people, and it's not these people's fault because it's just me talking right now. So they're working with the best they have. It's just not that great. So I'm going to get other amazing, beautiful women on, and then they can quote them, which would be much better than you just seeing me quoting myself all the time, because that's just weird. And I need to give them like some saint quotes and stuff. So if you've been turned off from my social media recently because you think I'm all about the me monster has taken over, me. And we live in a culture of me monsters. So if you thought that of me, no judgment. We live in a culture of me monsters. I'm not surprised. But I don't want to be a me monster, and I don't want to quote myself all the time. So we're going to be doing less posts and hopefully getting to quote more people on here. I am going to finish up some questions from the last Q&A for our patrons. So if you guys are interested in asking questions, please go to patreon.com/amongthelilies. The link is on here. So follow that link over and I will answer your questions. I'm going to go through a couple more questions that I have not answered yet. So let's see. Okay, Emily asks, how do you gracefully and righteously respond to other Catholics who are critical of how young you are, how young I'm getting married? My fiance and I are both 22 on our wedding day. We know we are being called to marriage and our families are supportive. Praise God. Good for you. Funny story. I'll finish reading the question in just a second. But funny story. My 9-year-old said to me the other day, she's like, Mom, I'm going to get married when I'm 18. I was like, oh, really? Who are you going to marry? And she's like, I don't know, some guy that has lots of twins in his family, because she just wants to have lots of babies. And I just think that's beautiful and precious. And her godmother has twins. And I was like, well, you could marry one of her sons, and she's like, ew, they're older than me. I'm like, honey, if you're getting married at 18, you got to marry someone older than you. You can't marry another 18-year-old. 18-year-old boys are definitely not ready for marriage. I don't know. I doubt she'll be ready for marriage at 18, but you never know. But then she's like, I can't marry them. They're related to me. They're my god brothers. I'm like, yeah, so you're actually not really related though. Anyhow, it was really cute. All right, let's see. Families are supportive. Praise God. But how do I respond when I receive these comments that don't align at all with my future husband and I's plans? At dinner tonight, my dad told me, don't be in a rush to have kids because they're a big responsibility. We both know that we can try for a baby once we're married. It's just a little disheartening to hear comments from family members like this. And then another one of our patron members, Denise, said, don't worry what people think about your age. I was 19 and my husband was 21. This August we'll be married for 30 years. Happy anniversary, Denise. That's awesome. Matt and I will be married 15 years next week on August 12th. So you could say a prayer for us as well. But that's awesome. Good for you. It wasn't always easy, but we made it work because of our faith. Our kids are 27 and 23. Would be older if it didn't take so long to conceive. LOL. And then Maria says, my sister got married to her husband when she was 21 and he was 23. They have been married for 24 years and have 9 children. The first 3 were spaced out by 3 years. Then after that, they had a child every 2 years. If both you feel called to marriage, you don't have to worry about what others are saying. Okay, yeah, I'm totally in agreement. People are going to have issues. It's funny. I thought I got married young, and I think we did. I want to say I was 23 and Matt was 21. I think that's right. We were early 20s. I may have been a little closer to the mid 20s, but we both were in our early 20s when we got married. And I don't think we were too young. I'm thankful. I'm so grateful that we got married young because we knew that's what the Lord was calling us to. And if I didn't get married that young, I wouldn't have been able to have kids, to be honest with you. Yeah, if we waited, like, it's funny, if we waited till we were like financially ready to have children or when we were in a good spot, like, I think we'd maybe be getting engaged now. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, it's okay if you're like late 30s just getting engaged. No offense to you. I don't mean it like that, but I'm thankful. I would have been too set in my ways if I got married later. And I'm glad that I was in my 20s. And if you're in your early 20s, more power to you, I think. I think that if you like don't have a job, I'm no one to judge or say, because when we got married, technically my husband did not have a job. So, but I did. I had a good job. I mean, I had a good job as a youth minister. So like, not like I was like raking in the big bucks, but I knew that I could provide for us and get food on the table. And then we went to Ireland as youth ministers and like, we didn't make much money. But God provided. Like, I don't know. I think that there's people that make plenty of money, but they live big, expensive lifestyles. And sometimes I think they're just as bad financially off as we were, even though we had no money. We had no money, but we also had no debt. Well, I had some student debt, but we had no major debt. And I think it's okay. So, yeah, no, hey, someone else is celebrating 30 years. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. Got a master's degree. I'm 26, by the way. Getting married on the 14th. Congratulations. I'm just like kind of reading the comments, but yeah, no, I will definitely, I will pray for you, Emily, but it's okay. I think 22 is a great age. I think that's a great age to get married, and don't let what other people say get to you too much. And you and your fiance pray and discern, and maybe have a good spiritual advisor to talk to, or maybe an older couple, not even that much older, but maybe a couple in their early 30s that you can talk to and discern things with. And I say go for it. I think it's way easier to get married young than it is to get married old. I respect people that get married old. I just think it's a lot harder because both of you are way more set in your ways. Okay, let's see. I had some big ones ahead of this. Let's see. I can't remember which ones of these I've answered and which ones I haven't. I'm so sorry. What are your favorite spots to visit for a first timer visiting Steubenville? I'll be there next week. I'm so sorry. So you probably already came because I was late in answering these questions. But I love Leonardo's, which is down on 4th. Tonight is First Fridays on 4th. If you're coming to Steubenville to visit, you should come during a First Friday. It's really fun. There's live music out on 4th Street. I don't actually know the town very well. I mainly stick around on 4th Street and then over on the street we live on. Those are kind of the only places I go. Where else do I go? I go to All for Kids. It's like a gymnastics place for kids. I don't get out much. I need to get out more. I'll try to ask someone that knows the town better than me. But yeah, 4th Street's pretty awesome. There's a coffee shop. There's a bookstore, but I can't go in it because my eyes and nose itch too much. He's got a cat that's really potent and I can't go in it. But my husband and son like going to the bookstore. I have a question. I recently met a Catholic woman that got divorced from a husband that abused her physically. Oh, I'm so sorry. Emotionally and cheated on her. I'm so sorry. Oh, poor woman. She was married with her ex-husband through the church, but he recently converted, but only converted to marry her. Currently, she's dating another man, not Catholic. They're living together. I told her she should look into getting her marriage annulled as she cannot receive Holy Communion. She seemed unaware of this. How am I Oh, so she's still going to mass? So she still is Catholic, yes? How can I guide her without coming off as preachy? I'm a cradle Catholic, but I am still in grade school in terms of catechism. Help. Maria, thanks for asking. You know what? I feel like I'm still in grade school in terms of some catechetical things. So yes. Okay, so I've interviewed Rose Sweet before. Her name's Rose Sweet. She does a lot of work with divorced Catholics. I think she probably can get you some resources or point you in the right direction. If you go to her website, I think just Google Rose Sweet and it should come up. Yeah, I would just lovingly try to let her know. That it's great and we love to have her at mass and she's more than welcome to come to mass, but yes, receiving communion is a no-go. Not because the church necessarily says she's not allowed to, that's part of it, but it's also condemning herself, right? It's like we need to be in the state of grace when we need to be in the state of grace when we receive the Eucharist. And so we need to make sure that we've gone to confession. We need to make sure that, our sins are pretty minimum, but if we have a major sin, it's better for us not to receive Holy Communion if we are not in the state of grace. And even our venial sins, we, like in the beginning of Mass, we say a prayer to like kind of forgive us for those venial sins. But mortal sins, we have to go to confession. But I would err on the side of heavy sins on your heart, don't receive. Go right after Mass, pull the priest aside. Is it okay if I go to confession and then receive next time? Just because we are like condemning ourselves, right? When we receive Holy Communion and we are not in the state of grace. And I think it's really good to get in the habit. I try to go to confession every month. I know some people that go weekly. Sometimes it's 2 months. And I find it really hard when I get to like the 2-month mark and I'm like, oh gosh, what's everything and I have a harder time going through all my sins. Yeah, but I would try to get her to confession. And then if she is living with someone that's not her husband, I get that she had an abusive husband. And I think that it's a harder, more sensitive area, the fact that she married a horrible man first go round. That does make it harder, but it doesn't, I think that it makes it way easier that she will get an annulment, right? When someone has been physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive to you and has cheated on you, like that wasn't a real marriage. Like, I'm sorry, like, ouch. But it's easy to get it annulled. So to start that process, I think would be huge. And I think explaining to her what that is and saying like divorce, just lovingly approach her and keep doing it with loving kindness and grace, and you'll do great. Okay, next question. Hi, Cameron. This may be a dumb question, but how do you go about modesty in marriage? So I had a speech impediment when I was a child, and there's certain words I cannot say, and specifically is one of those words. And so I just like avoid certain words. So I'll say certainly. So sorry as my tongue gets tied as I try to say that. When you first got married, was it just marital friendly attire in the home 24/7, or were there moments when that wasn't modest? If we go to bed in the nude, the first we would do together in the morning would be prayer or having sex. So when does the whole idea of modesty come in? I think I could be completely missing the boat on this one because I've just never been told anything about this. I know that marital act is like our Lord giving us himself, so it's holy. It's us giving ourselves It's us giving ourselves to each other, not the Lord giving us himself. But I get what you're saying. I guess I'm wondering if we were nude while saying a rosary or morning prayer, LOL. I'm getting married in 3 months and my pastor didn't assign a married couple to us to ask in marriage prep. Can you answer on YouTube live or whenever you think's best? Yes, I am so happy to answer this question for you. It's a great question. Okay, so it makes more sense that you're not married yet. But I think it's great. When we were engaged, we talked about naked Thursdays. We're like, we should just have naked Thursdays. And on Thursdays, we should just be naked all day. There's a huge difference between like beautiful naked and like ugly naked. So like seeing your husband or wife, well, for me, seeing my husband, and maybe guys are listening. So when you see your partner, your husband or wife sitting on the toilet, not so attractive. Like they could be butt naked, but you're like, oh, I'll just shut the door. There you go. Have your own space. And then same with like sitting down and eating a bowl of cereal. Like it's just kind of like, dude, where's your clothes? You can totally do that. Like if you want to have a naked day of the week or you just want to walk around your house naked all the time, go for it. Have a robe nearby. So if someone rings the doorbell, you could quickly put it on. But I think we all like the idea of that in theory more than in reality. I know a lot of people that sleep naked. I think that totally works. I've done it before in the past. I don't normally do it. When I have babies, I definitely sleep topless because I'm feeding them. But I have friends that like have always slept naked their whole marriage, even as their kids get different ages. They just keep a robe by their bed and they like to just have that skin to skin contact, and they have really good healthy marriages. I also know people that wear nightgowns to bed every night and they have good healthy marriages. I know people that wear like fluffy robes to bed all the time or long sleeve, long pants, and they also have good healthy marriages. So it's not like the more clothes you have on when you go to bed, the less healthy and holy your marriage is. No, it's not that at all. I think that sex is a beautiful, it's a beautiful way of expressing your love to your husband, right? Like I give myself to you totally and completely without holding anything back, and it's good and beautiful. There's certain times of the month where I just could not sleep naked. And I think for me with my endometriosis, hindsight, I think it's like there's definitely times. I also have some other issues with I have other female issues more than just endometriosis, and it's gotten worse the older I've gotten, and it's been hard, and there's been certain seasons where it's been really difficult, and so during those times, and we also, like I had C-sections, so we definitely NFP'd it like to not achieve pregnancy during certain times. So those times I think it was prudent for us to not be sleeping naked because I had really rough pregnancies and emergency C-sections. So I needed to space a little bit, and so I think you and your spouse deciding this, but as far as praying together naked, you totally can. Like for me, like, if we're laying in bed naked, like it's not weird to say a prayer. When we were trying to conceive, a lot of times before coming together, Matt would lead us in prayer, and it was really beautiful. And I think probably most of the time we weren't fully dressed for those prayers. I don't think you need to be fully dressed necessarily to pray, but I think if you're, I don't know, kneeling on a kneeler and you have kids, like, and they walk in, I don't know, if you're praying the rosary or something and they walk in, that could be kind of scarring, and I wouldn't recommend that. Family rosary, don't recommend that being naked. But if it's just you and your husband, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think that I would probably be a little more comfortable if I had something on. I know that people were confused in my last episode. I talked about chastity in marriage, and they're like, what does that mean? What does that look like? And they're like, I thought you don't have to be chaste when you're married. And so I think sometimes people think chastity means not having sex. That's not true. Virginity is you have not had sex. Abstinence, that's the word I'm looking for. Abstinence means not having sex. That's exactly what it is. Right now, I am practicing abstinence. I am not having sex right now with anyone. And most likely, if you're sitting watching YouTube, you're not either. And we're both practicing this right now. I'm also practicing chastity. Chastity is different in marriage in the aspect that chastity when you are single is also included in not having sex or being in impure relationships. When you're married, it's not looking at others as much, right? Like it's guarding your eyes from others that you may find attractive or and it's being prudent, like loving your spouse enough in times when it is not good for you to have sex, not having sex in those times. And then it's also practicing, like chastity is all about seeing the goodness and the beauty of the body. And so it would be like not walking around naked, like not in your home, like what we're talking about here, but like not going to the grocery store naked. That's a good thing. No one should go to the grocery store naked. And if you live in Steubenville, can I just say something to you, please? Don't go to the grocery store in your pajamas. Like, why? Why does everyone here go to the grocery store in their pajamas? That's weird. Like, put on a real pair of pants, okay? Put on a bra. Like, I'm just saying. I saw a girl the other day at the grocery store, and she only had her bra on. I really, really, really don't think it was a mistake. Like, I think she obviously purposely did it. I don't think it was meant to be a top. It really just looked like a normal bra. And I was so tempted to go up to her and be like, excuse me, sorry, sweetie. I just wanted to let you know you forgot to put your shirt on. Do you want me to buy you one? I think there's some shirts here. I'm more than happy to get you a shirt. I'm so sorry you forgot to put it on. Oh, you chose not to put a shirt on. Okay, cool. Why exactly did you think that was a good choice when you left your house to not put a shirt on? Oh, okay. Yeah, and just hear her out, see what she has to say. I don't know, maybe she had a really good reason for not putting her shirt on. But you should probably put your shirt on before you go to the grocery store. It's not because I'm anti seeing people in their bras. Like, actually, I don't really like seeing people in their bras, to be honest. So maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just like anti seeing people in their bras. But if I'm really distracted by this woman walking around in her bra, and I'm just like, why is she doing that? I'm really try to figure it out. I'm not like aroused or anything. I can only imagine how all the guys feel in the store. Just saying, you should put clothes on. All right, sorry, back to my questions. Okay, I think I'm almost out of time. I'm gonna do like one more, and then I'm gonna do one more. Okay, one of my favorite. Okay, now I'm gonna read comments about this. Oh, this is fun. One of my favorite married couples actually said their evening rosary in the nude. Good for them. Got a little awkward when one of their 10 kids walked in on them praying. They assumed that they were praying with their clothes on. Oh, that's hilarious. That's kind of what I was talking about. That's actually really funny. It actually happened to them. Those guys run an amazing marriage prep course called Preparing to Live in Love. Oh, there you go. Maybe you should check that out. Modesty has everything to do with the intentions of the heart. That's why the idea of modest attire shifts so much from culture to culture and era to era. My husband and I sleep in the nude and have for many years. So we're both accustomed to it, and neither of us is overly distracted during informal prayer in bed. But it would feel a little weird to head out of our bedroom to the altar in the living room and pray in the nude. Yeah. So I was kind of saying the same thing. In the beginning of your marriage, you'll be facing a paradox while you both try to increase your comfort with each other so you won't feel so shy and nervous and self-conscious. It's so true. It's so true. Okay, so I love this. So this is like someone that's been married, like answering her question. Because I was surprised by the question. I was like, okay, good for you. I'm like, they're newlyweds. And then I read that she wasn't married yet. I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay. Yes, so thank you so much. I have people answering these questions over on Patreon. They're wonderful. Okay, let's see. God called you very good, and when he made you, like Christopher West always says, it's us who has made things awkward. Absolutely, amen. Okay, I just answered that one. What is your favorite part of the Mass? That's a great question. Eucharist, receiving the Eucharist, by far my favorite part of Mass. Boom, mic drop. That's it. That's all I got. I also love watching my kids receive, like, especially when they were really little. Like, I love that. I love their, like less now. Like, I don't really, not that I don't enjoy watching my 13-year, like it's kind of worn off with my 13-year-old. Like, I feel like it's very normal for him to receive now. But with my 6-year-old, it's still really beautiful watching him and then saying his prayers so devoutly and strongly after. And, what did he say to me the other day? He said, Mom, when the Eucharist like runs out, or no, one day he's like, Mom, I made sure that I swallowed Jesus down the right pipe, so he went straight to my heart and not my stomach. I was like, that is awesome. I think I like swallowed water and it went down the wrong pipe, and I was coughing, and so I said it went down the wrong pipe. So I love that. And then he also said, Mom, when the Eucharist like wears out in your heart, is that when you die? And I thought that was really profound and beautiful. Okay, what is your favorite album, song, band, not including hymns? That's a hard one. I really like Rascal Flatts. Lately, we've been listening to a lot of Bon Iver. I like Bon Iver. Matt got a record player because he's not coming on the internet for the month of August, which is awesome and fun, and I've enjoyed that. Backstreet Boys are in sync. You know what? Backstreet's back. All right. I'd have to go with Backstreet Boys, but I wasn't like a super girly girl. I wasn't a massive fan. My sisters were in love with, actually one sister was in love with both bands. Another sister was just Backstreet Boys. But I was just kind of like, I don't really get the whole boy band thing. Like, wasn't my cup of tea. Figure you need some short answers in the mix. That last one is not serious at all. Thank you. I appreciate that. Kiara, I needed a lighthearted one. Can you give me details on how you build up intentional Catholic community in the places where you lived? I'm moving and I really want to surround myself with like-minded women and families. Great question, Joanne. We will pray for you in your move. People pray for Joanne in her move. But okay, that gets me all caught up on the last one, but I need to go back to this one too. So yay, so many wonderful questions. I love it. Building intentional community. Invite people over. Invite people into your mess. Okay, you are not, even if your house looks perfect, which it probably doesn't, but even if it does, invite people in. I think if your OCD and your house looks perfect, you need to invite people in and just let it get messy. Or if you're more like me and your house is a bit more of a big hot mess, invite them in. Like, we invited our neighbors over last night. The Newtons came over and we literally had probably 2,000 Legos on the floor. And we just put the chairs around the Legos so we could kind of sit. I think only one person stepped on Legos, and we're like, sorry about all the Legos. And we just sat and had a drink and chatted and laughed and enjoyed each other's company. Like, I think Matt literally brought out a bag of chips, like in a bag. I should have been a better hostess. Normally I would like put it in a bowl and bring it out, but there are good friends. And like, that's what you do. Like, you just do community. Like, when the house is a mess, you invite people in. And I think if you're getting ready to move, invite neighbors over. Like, invite them over, meet people at church and say, hey, would you like to come over to my house after church for donuts and coffee? Like, that's really easy. Like, hey, we're going to stop by the donut shop and then we're going to our house. Would you like to come? And the kids can play while we chat. And you literally just go through Dunkin' Donuts, get donuts, come to your house and just chat with these people and invite them into your mess. Let their kids play with your kids. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, it's even easier. But just do it. Just show up. And don't be afraid. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. People will feel like it's nice to tidy up like that one little space so you can sit. Because I've also heard, like, on a scale of 1 to stepping on Legos barefoot, how bad does it hurt? So hindsight, I should have picked up all the Legos. People just kept their shoes on. Wasn't a big deal. It was just kind of the space we were in last night. Normally, I would tidy up that one room that we could sit in and hang out in, and it would look nice. But I didn't last night, and that's okay. Like, it was good. I went over a friend's house yesterday. It was awesome. Like, she invited me in. We had sparkling waters, and we just chatted, and it was great. And her house wasn't that messy, but it wasn't that clean either. It was a normal house. It's like the way my house looks. And I'm more likely to just show up because she was comfortable with it and I was comfortable with it. And I think that's how you build friendships. Yeah, so that's my advice. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to do some more questions over on Patreon for our Patreon members. So if you didn't get enough questions answered and you want more, go over to patreon.com/amongthelilies or just click the link down below. Please pray for me in my diet and I will pray for you. And I think that I'm trying to get over being allergic to diet. Are you allergic to it? I would like to know. Is this just me, or are other people also allergic to the word diet? And someone telling me it's a lifestyle switch and not a diet doesn't really help me that much. Does that help you? Maybe it does. But I think, yeah, eating healthy, eating good. I think as much as we can get back to like I've heard, like, just shop the outside lines, like the outside areas at the grocery store. I think that's really true. And that's what I tried to do. So it's like, you should have lots of fruits and veg and some dairy and meats if you're not vegan, eggs, like cheeses, like really, if you go to almost any grocery store, it's laid out like that. You just stick to the outlines, unless you're at Aldi and that doesn't work, but normal grocery stores, that works. But yeah, I don't know. So I am giving up. So I'm basically drinking water and sparkling water. So no alcohol, no coffee, no caffeine at all, no sugar, no grains. Anyone that wants to join me, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? Do you need like a little kick in the butt? You could be part of my team and we could support each other. Even if you just you don't have to do like the weird things like the no avocado. I love avocado. I thought avocado was good for you, but apparently not for me. But if you just want to like just do no grains or just do no dairy or just do no sugar or do all three, I'm going to call my mom when I get off this with y'all and see if she'll do it with me, because I think it would be really good for her too. She struggles with health stuff. So yeah, join me in this to be a healthier, better me. Not because I think I'm fat, because I don't think I'm fat. And I think for me, when I hear diet, I'm like, oh, you think you're fat? Like I even said to someone yesterday that I'm starting a diet, and they're like, oh yeah, are you doing it to get in shape better? I'm like, I don't think I'm fat. And they're like, I didn't say that you thought you were fat. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have like this like response thing to be like, just so you know, I'm not fat. Or I don't think I'm fat. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I think it's because I'm a product of the 80s and 90s. But would like to know what the rest of you think. Comment below. Let me know. Maybe it's a generation thing. Maybe it's just because I'm someone that struggled with, or not struggled. I'm someone who had a mom that was always doing a diet growing up. And then also I think that our relationship with food, it was like if you did good, you got dessert to reward you. Like I very much am like, oh, well, once I put the kids to bed and clean the kitchen, then I can eat this whole chocolate cake because I deserve it. So maybe it's just my own thing. I don't know. But would love prayers. Thank you. And prayers for my family, because I'm not really nice without caffeine and sugar and alcohol. So that would be good. All right. Love you. God bless. Talk to you later. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you next week.